Alrighty, everybody, welcome to another Lightning Strikes Twice, the super fast, hyper condensed version of our longer lightning rounds, where we each have one topic apiece that the other doesn't know about, and we have 5 minutes to discuss. And this time, Casey, you're first, so go ahead.
All right. We haven't done religion too much. So I thought, why do you think atheism is so controversial?
Oh, I don't know. I guess it depends on is who you're talking about. Um, I don't. It shouldn't be.
Right? Because it's actually like growing in popularity
Hmm.
over the last few decades, really.
Yeah,
Um, which I don't know, to me seems logical, like in line with advancements in science and technology and things like that that can kind of bring more understanding to the way the universe works. And
yeah,
but like I feel like most of it is just like what is it called? Like where you just kind of want to hang on to
yeah,
tradition and
yeah.
all that.
Traditions and like nostalgia in a way.
Yeah. And so I've seen figures as high as like a billion people being in the atheist
Hmm.
circle, let's say atheist agnostic.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think one of the things too, it's like I think for a lot of people, especially people who are deeply immersed in a particular religion, they don't really understand what atheism is. They kind of think it's like all a homogenous hive mind kind of thing when it isn't. Like you just said atheist agnostic, which is myself. I have spiritual beliefs, but they're not a particular religion. And I'm it's like I don't have a problem with other religions and things. Like there's a lot of things that I think, okay, yeah, I can still get along and we can have a conversation about things. Um, and so maybe it's like a misunderstanding, probably.
could be. I also wonder if like there's a bit of a bandwagon fallacy with religion where people are like, well, most people are religious, so there must be some kind of God. One of them must be right. How
Yeah, yeah.
about how about there could be a God and still none of the religions are correct, you know?
That's yeah, exactly. That's kind of that's sort of the camp that I fall into a
You
little
know,
bit.
there's a lot of different ways that could go. And
Hmm.
I often wonder if there are way more atheists than we realize because there are some religions that are very restrictive
Hmm.
about things like that. Like, I'm thinking of like extreme Islamic
Yeah.
stuff where if you can still be put to death for being an atheist. So, of course, you're not going to go around being like, well, I'm an atheist. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and it may
At
not
the coffee
necessarily be.
shop, like, no, God's dead.
Yeah. And it may not necessarily be like specifically the religion, but certain places where religion is like the doctrine of the nation. And so
Yep.
yeah, like you if you live in like one of those places, you'd keep it to yourself. Like
Mm.
if you have questions, you would not ask anybody those questions. You just think keep it inside. So yeah, you're right. I think there's a lot more, and there's like atheism. It's kind of a spectrum. There's a lot of different flavors of that, and even within religion itself, like Christianity, there's people or Judaism, right? There are people who are kind of soft Jewish, where they'll follow most of the stuff, but don't really like. They don't the whole pork thing. They'll still eat bacon and whatnot because bacon is good. I don't care. And then there's people who are like by the book, 100% that kind of thing. And maybe there's some people that are sort of between religion and being atheists and stuff. And but I think that, like I said, that I think it's a misinterpretation where people within a circle of religion will have this notion of what an atheist is and what atheists think and what they believe and stuff.
Yeah.
And to them, they look at it as its own religion, which, like, well, it kind of isn't. because there isn't like an atheist doctrine specifically, you know.
Right. I mean, I don't personally, I don't consider Buddhism religion, but
Mhm.
it's considered one of the biggest, like top
Yeah.
five in the world or something.
Hmm.
Um, and like, I mean, they don't have a God,
No.
but it's still considered a religion, probably because there is kind of central tenets and philosophies that are followed. And I mean, you could make that argument with, like the new atheism, as they called it, where like, it started with Carl Sagan and
Yeah.
the likes of his generation and Richard Dawkins, of course, being
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
famous for,
But that was time, by the way. But like,
oh,
yeah, well, and
yeah, I
with
can't hear
Buddhism,
anything
oh
coming
yeah,
out of you.
yeah. But like with Buddhism, the that yeah, I guess there's like a revered person who's
Mhm.
kind of like part of it.
Yeah.
And so people like religious people think of that as like, oh, that's, you know, whatever. But okay, well, we can, that would be an interesting one to continue with.
Yeah.
So mine, oddly enough, it's somehow all these things coincide. Like somehow our every time randomly we come up with something that's related. Mine is also religion. Um, Funny because
Cool.
you just said we don't talk about it that often, and then somehow the stars aligned this time. Maybe it was God. God did it. So, and I guess this is also a current event thing too. Why is the Pope such a big deal?
Right? I mean,
Because you know they just recently brought in a new pope, which apparently is like first time an American pope
mhm.
is has been selected. But like it was like it's all over the news and everybody's people are standing and it's like this big deal. It's like what? Why? What the hell does the pope do? Honestly,
Right. Yeah. Like the whole spiritual guidance thing, like, I I flip-flop with the Pope based
mm,
on who the Pope is.
yeah,
Like it's a powerful position, no question.
mm,
And the ones that use it to further like the bigotry side of religion really irks me. But
mm,
when they're a little bit more like, hey, everybody, by the way, Jesus wanted you to help the poor and stuff like that,
mm,
like we need more reminders like that.
yeah,
And if it's coming from somebody that's bending the ear of over a billion people, I
yeah,
mean, not just Catholics, even Christians look to that guy for, spiritual guidance,
yeah,
even
yeah,
if they don't jive with the religion. I mean, like people do the same thing with Buddhism and
mm,
various other like Eastern religions. They're like, oh, that was a really good quote. I'm going to live my life by
yeah,
that. And
yeah,
and they don't
exactly.
think twice about like, ooh, does Jesus like that quote?
Mm.
So
Yeah. Well, and
like,
I think maybe the Pope has there's a benefit to the Pope. Like you said, a lot of people listen to what the
mm,
Pope says, and if the Pope is talking about like pulling the good stuff out of the religion and saying, hey, let's and also maybe changing with the times. Like for instance, like things have changed where they're like, oh, yeah, the Earth isn't the center of the universe, and it isn't flat, even though that was never a thing. But like I think the Vatican has like a telescope, a big ass
yeah, yeah,
observatory or something. I mean, and it, that changing things for the better or moving along with the times is, I guess, good because otherwise, how religions tend to be very dogmatic and they get stuck in their ways and don't adapt to change. And maybe, hey, you bring in somebody like this that's kind of a man of the street, man of the people, basically, and
yeah.
and they can come in and change. Like the last pope changed quite a bit and
Oh
didn't
yeah.
have like kind of eschewed a lot of the formality and the majesty of the position. Just kind of was a regular guy for the most part.
Yeah,
And
I'd like to see that. Like, well, this new pope said he was going to kind of carry on in the same vein, so we'll
yeah,
probably see a lot of similar um, eschewing.
yeah.
Uh,
And maybe that will be a thing, a trend that'll carry on. That,
yeah,
that it'll be like expected that the Pope is more of a regular person.
I
And
I think history shows that will definitely be the case.
yeah,
Um, And like this Pope Leo, right?
Yeah,
He said he was gonna like focus on AI or something and like how it integrates with society and humanity and stuff. And it's like, oh, that's kind of
that's why not?
forward thinking, I
It's
guess.
very,
And
yeah.
you know, and and after Pope Leo, we might get Pope Donatello and Pope Raphael, and
Michelangelo.
yeah, yeah.
And then they'll eat pizza together. Pizza will be the
Cow,
official.
what is it? Cow bunga?
Pizza will be the official food. Like they won't hand out the little wafers anymore. It'll be slices of pizza. Dude, that'd be. I'd be a Catholic if that were the case. Oh man, I'd go. I would totally go. Oh man, they
Rewrite
should.
Jesus as a Ninja Turtles comic. Like,
Yep. Oh man, yeah. It just kind of struck me as odd because of how like it was all over the news and it's this big deal and so many people were tuning in and stuff. And I'm just like, does it really matter at the end of the day? But I guess it does. Like you said, a lot of people pay attention. Um, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe we do need like a spiritual leader for the planet. Somebody who will
yeah,
guide people and encourage people to do good. As long as, like you said, we focus on the good side of that religion,
but
like
you
helping
know,
people and getting along and accepting people and stuff like that.
well, as on the flip side of things, though, there are still people that are just like, well, that doesn't align with what I think, so fuck what he says,
Yeah.
like pretty much all the MAGA Trump
Oh,
trolls,
that's
like,
time.
oh, I did hear that one. Pretty
Okay.
much all of them like instantly hate this Pope because he's all about like what Jesus liked and not what Trump likes. So,
Well, yeah, I mean, that is the thing. It's a lot of people don't even, I feel like they haven't even read their own book,
yeah,
especially like in the Christian side of things, because like the
they're
stuff
literally putting Trump ahead of their own God.
that,
False idols, anybody? You remember
yeah,
that one?
yeah.
That
Oh
was
man.
kind of a big one, actually.
Yeah, that was, yeah, yeah, that was. Yep. Oh yeah. All right. Well, that was an interesting one. I don't know how the hell we managed to both have religion-esque topics. That's
Right?
weird.
I came up with that literally last minute too. I was just like,
That's so funny. Oh man. Well, that's what we do week in and week out. So, and we do this every week. So stick around to next week and you'll see another one. Yeah. Okay, everybody. So hopefully you enjoyed it and we'll see you next time.
Jesus on a crucifix, Jesus power.